Mujtaba, a well-known scholar and alim, studied in Hawza Ilmiya, Qom, serving North America and Europe for last 20 years, doing tablighat in multiple centers throughout North America and Europe, giving lectures and dars in person and online in several languages. Done masters in energy healing and Reiki, and now serving Greater Toronto area and beyond. Please join me with a loud salawat to welcome Agha Hassan Mujtaba. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين والصلاة والسلام على محمد وآل محمد أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of this universe. Since the time that human beings have landed on this earth, there is a battle between good and evil that has been fought. This battle between good and evil has been fought in the hearts and minds of human beings. If we think that the world outside is actually going to determine or influence what happens inside of us, then every single turn of event, in every era, in every time, we're going to be influenced and we're going to have the stimulus from outside come inside. And the same way that the stimulus is, we're going to feel that way. Okay. This battle between good and evil, as I mentioned to you, it's within a person's mind, heart, and soul. And the hope and the justice that we have this topic about the Imam. What we have to understand is that this hope and justice also resides inside of the heart, mind, and the soul of human beings. And whatever is outside, it is the projection of the battle inside. So the system of oppression that we live in, which is based on debt and interest, the system which actually promotes a sort of a liberal point of view that whatever your heart desires, you do. In a system where religion is nothing more but just an ideology in which a person can participate in a mosque, in a church, in a synagogue, in a temple, in a gurdwara, and then just come out and still be part of that practical aspect of that system. And just for a little while, they can be secluded, and they can refresh themselves to come back to work the next day. Or where the system is made in such a way that the health of an individual is dependent on that system of medication, the system of the pharmaceutical companies getting richer over and over again. That your health is going to be dependent on the system where you're going to take 18 to 20 medicines a day. Where you have the system where the expression of self is more superficial than it is the internal beauty of a person. Or even our own youths as well, like our sisters will have this sort of hijab where their half of their hair are showing, or the neck is showing. They will wear those clothes that are actually, hijab is not just supposed to be a scarf on their head. And then our brothers as well, they'll keep a beard, and then after keeping a beard, they think that now they are actually now they're religious, and the rest of the things that they're going to do, they can have tattoos on their body. Even some of the sisters, they end up getting tattoos on their body. They can actually have a talk or a way of expression, just like, for example, the music videos or the movies. They can talk like that. They can use that lingo, and that's basically okay. As long as they are, doing their sort of rituals, or they're saying that they are for justice, that they are standing against oppression. As long as there's a few things that they're doing that they feel content inside, that they have done their job. And then you have those people who are supposed to give us knowledge. They will give knowledge, but when you come into their regular practical lives and when you start talking to them, you realize that the knowledge that they had given to us, it's not actually in their lives. So their actions don't match their knowledge. When we go to our centers, we have a particular flavor of center. We want to go to that center. We want to listen to that particular speaker because the flavor of that speaker we really like. We have our Thursday programs where we will recite the Dua Kuman, we will go through our ritual and checklist, and we feel content that we have done all that there is needs to be done. Or as one of the brothers was mentioning, that if we have said to the Imam, come as soon as possible, that we have done our duty. So I mean, all of these things are there, and it's just a projection of what is happening inside. So with the circumstances even right now, I think people are becoming more aware of the introspection, or they're looking inside, and they have more time now to look inside than they did before. Um, so I think we need to also do the same. If we are an alim, we need to look inside and see whether truly everything that is supposed to be in the place that they're supposed to be is there, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained, because that what justice is. We need to see inside of us that whether we've become part of the system, we have accepted the stimulus from outside, and we have developed that inside of us, and our hope is only maybe just left in words and not in our heart or not in our mind. We have to see if we have gotten stuck in the rut of life that everybody else has. If you are, any other profession that what you're doing, you have to see whether that profession has influenced your mind and heart. So whatever is outside is just a projection. The darkness that we see outside, the injustice that we see, the inequality that we see, the social inequality that we see, the human rights being trampled all over the place, the governments that are there that are taking away the sovereignty of the other governments, the fear mongering of the media in any circumstances, whether it is the circumstances that we face today or whether it is the circumstances otherwise, the media is only going to put a spin on the news so that you don't know what the truth is, but you're always anxious, you're always fearful, you always have this sort of hysteria coming inside of your hearts. So, I mean, whatever you see human beings doing right now, it is the projection of what is inside. Outside is just that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given signs outside and He has given signs inside. And I think the waiting of the Imam, we have become again focused more on the outside. When a pandemic comes, when the earthquake comes, when there's injustice increasing and all of that, that stimulus we take and we think that it is that is going to bring about the advent of the Imam. When in actuality, it is what will happen inside of the human being's mind, heart, and soul that is going to project that those circumstances where the Imam of the time, the things are going to become conducive for the Imam of the time to introduce himself. So we need to really do, a sort of a check from the neck up, okay, and also from the neck down. We need to see what is going on here, because let's say I'm giving this sort of talk to you, and what you see is me and your video screen, and you hear my voice, and you're trying to understand what I'm saying. But what you don't see is what's happening inside of my mind and my heart. If in my mind the thoughts are, I hope the video is okay, I hope my voice is okay, I hope what the things that I'm saying are going to make sense, or I hope the people who are listening to me are going to be able to understand that. I hope that, just I don't go over time. If all of those things that are happening inside, you cannot see, right? But I know. Okay? There's a dua command that is recited, which you hear, just the beautiful sound or the voice of that person reciting, but what you don't see is what's happening inside of that person's mind. Okay, so waiting of the Imam, it has to be something more personal. It has to be something more intro than. And when you start looking at your mind, if your mind is everywhere, and you have a hard time to focus. You're not prepared for the Imam. If your mind goes into loops and you get into these conversations with your own self, and these conversations become so big that they start producing the symptoms of anxiety, or your body starts sweating or your heartbeat goes up, no matter what this stimulus from outside is, no matter if it is the mortgage, if it is the bill, if it is a pandemic, whether it is anything else that is coming from outside, if you're not able to control your mind and you get stuck in those loops, and then your body starts showing those symptoms, you're not prepared for the Imam. If your heart is such that you're not able to overpower an emotion of anger within 15 minutes, you're not prepared for the Imam. If in your heart you have this sort of feeling of arrogance and you're not able to control that feeling of arrogance, that you are better than someone else or you know more than somebody else, if you can't control that feeling within the 15 minutes, you're not prepared for the Imam. If the sincerity level of my actions and my words is such that requires a stamp of others or the people that are around me or the society or the norms of the society need to stamp my actions, then I'm not ready for the Imam. Inside, what happens to me is this going to determine what will be projected outside. If you want to change the present, what you need to do, because we're always in the past, the present itself is not even 1 second or microsecond, it just comes and goes. It doesn't really stay, right? So you're constantly in a way in the past, and this is our linear way of thinking about the time. But this past is going to connect to something in the future that has infinite number of possibilities. And as soon as it matches one of those possibilities, it will determine your present. So if our present is not something that is what we like, if in our present we feel weak, if in our present, in our mind, we're not able to control our thoughts, we don't have the focus, in our heart, we're not able to control our lower emotions. In our heart, we're not able to bring about our higher emotions of love, compassion, and empathy, then all of this stuff that is happening inside, right? All of this that is happening inside is going to determine your present, because all of this is going to connect to the future, which is fluid, which is liquid. It has all of the possibilities, infinite number of possibilities, but it will connect to it and give you the present. So instead of us becoming the source for this present to remain this way, we need to become people who will change this present. And the way that we're going to change this present is from inside, not from outside. Outside is going to be projected. You know, we've also had the narrations of where the scholars had narrated about the promise of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is going to give this earth to the ones who are mustazaf. Mustazaf are those individuals who have been made weak, but they're not weak. They have been placed in those circumstances where they want the betterment, they want to change their circumstances. They're not happy with their circumstances. They want to change. They're not just complacent. They're not just sitting idle. They're not just accepting every hardship, every stimulus, everything that coming is from outside just as it is. No, they're fighting and struggling inside. And they want something which is justice. Justice outside is going to be there when we place everything inside in the right place that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained. And that's not just the rituals. That means who you are in its entirety, understanding who you are, understanding why you react to the stimulus when the stimulus is given, understanding that why did you stay in your home when there was an opportunity to go outside and stand for justice and put your voice out to the air, but you start looking at your own benefits within your life, what you're going to get. Why did that happen? Where is that healing that is required? Where is that shortcoming that is there? What is that insecurity that is there? Where is that ego is it coming from? What sort of emotional trauma have I gone through that because of the stimulus I'm not able to have control inside? We need to preparing of the Imam would require all of these strengths. We need to tap into our potential. Your potential of your body, we don't even utilize 2% of that potential. You need to learn how to tap into that potential of your body. You need to learn about the physiology of of yourself. Physiology will give you the knowledge. You will become aware of your immune system. You will become aware of how things move around, how the systems interact, the holistic way of your whole body. That will give you knowledge that if there is a pandemic, you will be able to calm yourself. You'll have this peace inside that I know what is going on, and I know that there is a solution, and I can go for that solution, and I can make myself strong. You need to understand how your mind works so that you can control your mind. You can have that focus. You need to understand how your emotions work. You need to understand what is your metaphysical side. All of this knowledge is going to give you that strength to become extraordinary, because we live in extraordinary times. And the time of the Imam, as it gets closer to his advent, are going to even become more extraordinary. If we are the way that we are right now, in every single aspect of it, we have become the reasons perhaps for the delay of the coming of the Imam. Because of that sort of way that we are, instead of looking outside for that earthquake, look inside, where is that earthquake coming? Look inside, where is that pandemic inside of me? If there's fear and hysteria outside, look inside where your fear and hysteria is. If you find yourself to be weak outside, look inside where you're weak. We need to become sources for that true hope. Without strength, you will not have hope. Without placing the things where they're supposed to be placed, no matter which part of the society you happen to be, whether you are in a scholar, whether you are a worker, whether you are a father, whether you are a mother, whether you're a sister, whether you're an active, it's not going to happen without looking inside, without becoming extraordinary. We need to do that. Otherwise, it's just words. Calling the Imam and being the source for a delay because we are not able to become strong enough inside that it is projected outside, because we are disunited, because religion has become a ritual to us, because activism has become just a label for us, because knowledge has just become a source of arrogance or making money, because all of the centers have this flavor, and because of this flavor, they're going to keep that flavor going, because the member of the Holy Prophet has become a source where people can come up and project themselves instead of actually giving the right religion. All of these things become hurdles in the way of the coming of the Imam. We need to remove those hurdles inside, and you will see your present will change. You will see that you will have the strength to be able to tackle the difficulties and hardships that come along your way. And that is the concept of the waiting of the Imam. It's not doing anything. It's becoming extraordinarily strong to be able to do tawassul bil haq, to be able to do tawassul bil sabr, to be able to become that being that when the Imam looks at, says he or she is someone that is going to be a source of support for my task and responsibility that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make all of you as a source of hope and strength for yourself, for the community, for the family, and also for the Imam of the